Man Cave again. I try.
Okay.
Good morning, Insane Rhetoric listeners. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is March 25th, and you guessed it. It's time for podcast. Okay, so Ronnie's not here. Fire's not here, but listen, I got a special guest today. Listen, y'all, this episode is gonna be in the man cave, but I got a special guest on here who I affectionately call my internet son. It's a long story. We're not gonna tell y'all that story today.
Not today. Not today.
Not today. We don't have time for all of that. But we got a special guest. This is the host of the Black Fatherhood Podcast. Did I say it right?
That's right.
Okay. And so that's why he's gonna be in the man cave today, because they're gonna do Fatherhood Part 2. But we the only ones get up early.
Super early.
Right. So we're gonna talk to y'all. We're gonna talk about parenthood. So I'd like to talk about the differences I see in kids today and why that might be. I know times have changed, so things change, but I just am a firm believer of there are some things that shouldn't change.
Like what?
Some basic things like respect.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Kindness. Thoughtfulness. And I don't mean thoughtfulness with respect to I'm thinking of you, so I'm going to do a nice thing. Not just that, but thoughtfulness with regards to being a critical thinker, being able to connect the dots. What I see, because I work in a school, and what I see a lot is point and click thinkers. That's what I call them. Point and click thinkers. Because we utilize technology a lot nowadays. We didn't have it. Oh shoot, I don't know if we even had it as much when you were probably younger either. Yeah, we've been knowing each other a long time.
Yeah, everything started probably when I was around 13, 14.
Yeah.
Probably.
So you have the best of both worlds, where you have the before and the after.
Right. The landline and the cell phone.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Because I know y'all probably, do you let your children use like the iPads and do you, like this little girl is in 4th grade, 3rd grade. Yesterday, she just told me yesterday, she has a Snapchat, an Instagram, a Facebook. She named so many, a TikTok. She named some other stuff that I didn't even know about. What? Tell me what you think of that. I don't know what that. As a younger parent, what do you think of that?
I mean, the kids, they have access to more technology than we did, and whatever technology we had at the time, we were going to use to the fullest extent, and they're going to do the same thing. So we can't really fault them for that. It's just a matter of being present and being observant of what they're doing and paying attention to everything they're doing. If the kid has all that, I feel like the parent's not really paying attention, because the kid doesn't. A 4th grader doesn't need all that. They don't need that much access to the world. If you need access to the world at that age, jump on a plane and go check something out in real life. Because the internet will steer you wrong. The internet will show you, all the good parts, and you won't know about the bad parts, or vice versa. So definitely, kind of blinds you and puts a blanket over your head. And I feel like, maybe maybe because people are so separated, even though we're all connected through technology digitally, we're all kind of separated in our own worlds. And I feel like that can affect kids and how they treat their parents, treat their friends, treat their relatives. And if people are feeling more distance, even if they're right there in front of you, they're still kind of far away from you. People are there, but they're not really there.
It's interesting because the same little girl was the one who most knew about the recent events of the day. Like she was telling me all of the gory details of the Denver East High School shootout that just happened.
Okay, I'm actually not familiar with that.
So in Denver, at a school called East High School,
mm-hmm.
a 17-year-old shot 2 administrators.
Wow.
And then they found him dead near his family car some miles away.
Wow.
That's the short version.
Mm-hmm.
But she knew all about all of those things, and I found myself cringing. They were like, why are you looking like that?
Right.
And I was cringing because there's no way that I would have known at that age anything like that. I would have been shielded from that. Even, watching the news,
mm-hmm.
I mean, it was on, things were on the news, but that's where you got it unless you read the newspaper.
Right.
So I got certain things because my father always, that was part of how he taught us how to read was, your daily reading was the newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I got certain things like when OJ killed his wife and Ron Goodman.
Allegedly.
And people were saying, yeah, that's right. I have to say allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
People were saying, thank you for that. People were saying, no, he couldn't have done it. He's a wonderful stand-up guy. All of that, okay, whatever.
Juice.
But when I was a youngster, in a story that was buried in the back of the newspaper, a very small article, OJ, the police were called to his house for domestic violence.
Okay.
With the first wife.
Wow, I didn't know about that.
A lot of people don't.
Mm-hmm.
But it was in the newspaper when I was a youngster. Okay. And I remember thinking when she testified in his trial,
mm-hmm.
Because there was an article, really small, about the police being called to his home for domestic violence.
Interesting.
Yeah. When, what's his name? President George W.
Mm-hmm.
When he first ran for office, I remember.
Senior or junior?
Junior.
Okay.
I remember. And the internet was just really popping off then.
Mm-hmm.
But back then they had 2 articles on the internet. One, he was they had the video and the article with the video. He was at a party and he was fall down drunk.
Wow. George Bush.
The president. Okay. The second president, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other article was about how many of our executions here in the state of Texas that he was present for. Like he was sitting in the room for, I think at the time, it was like 137 executions.
Wow.
Exactly. Wow.
That's traumatizing to me.
Right. So things like that are, that's a good word, traumatizing. Those things are traumatizing. But this little girl was talking about this stuff like, and guess what? And you know what? Like it was nothing. And so I was like, wow, what's going on with that? But now I'm listening to you as a, because I call myself an old parent. I have kids, my children aren't even children anymore.
Right. They're adults.
Right. And it warms my heart when my children say to me, especially my oldest daughter, she will say to me, Mama, I really understand why you did what you did. Because she's talking about different friends of hers and the children. And so it kind of warms my heart that I was there, that I was present. And maybe they didn't always like the choices that I made for them. But as adults, they appreciate, as they look back, they appreciate those choices that I made for them. What do you feel about that? Because you have youngsters.
Yeah, I mean, I can only hope that that my kids appreciate the work I put in over time. I'm still brand new to it. I'm still in the beginning stages, but I'm hoping the foundation I lay helps them later in life. It's tough. It's really tough to know what's going to work, what's not going to work. It's hard to know if what you're doing is right, but you just do what you feel is right and what you think is going to bring the best outcome. Bless you. And yeah, I mean, I think it's hard. It's definitely hard to know, but I know kids usually perceive things differently than parents do, and you'll never really know until they get older how they actually felt about how they were raised. So
I think I agree with you, because it's like I watched mine. There's a point at the beginning where they're learning so much, so it's kind of mostly, I love whatever mommy and daddy tell me to do. Like,
right.
it's fine. I mean, there's some hiccups, but it's mostly like all roses. And then, and I want to, for me, I think it's more right around junior high, middle school age, whatever it is you might call it, junior high, middle school, intermediate, that mid-range. I want to say maybe 6th, 7th grade, somewhere in there, where the independence starts, because they start taking everything that they know, and then, in reading we use the word schema, everything that you already know, right?
Right.
They take that, and then it's joined with what they're learning from their peers, because now there's a whole new understanding about what their peers are doing in their homes, right? Now comes the more birthday parties and sleepovers and all of that.
Right.
Okay.
I'm sorry. My baby just woke up. I just gotta go take care of that real quick. I'll be right back.
All right. Yeah, we live. Y'all know this what happens. Sometimes we have to go take care of the dog. We live, y'all. We are all the way live. Yeah, we're gonna go on the station break, everybody. We're on the station break, everybody. I will start singing in a minute.
Oh no.
No.
We don't want that.
Y'all want to hear my singing either? No one wants to hear my singing. Okay.
I heard a little bit in the beginning. That's it. No, I had make sure the baby was okay.
Yeah.
But no, feel free to continue. With what you were saying.
I don't even remember what I was saying.
It's okay.
I think I had asked you what you thought about all of that. I mean, as a younger parent, like, because you don't know. You know what? I wish I was the person who would write the book that, as parents, we all want, because we all said there's no planning manual.
Yeah, it's you can't really plan things. You can plan things, but it's just a guideline. It's not, you don't know what's actually going to happen. Like a wedding, the timeline's a guideline. You never know how that day's really going to go.
Yeah. I have a relative that, I think she lives in New York. Lives and works in New York. And she had the one child, and now she has just had twins.
Okay.
But with the first child, I just find myself in a laugh out loud moment constantly with her, because she's catching all of us up on what's going on with the baby and all of that.
Right.
And her adventures in parenthood. And it was hilarious the way she told us, as she tells us all these different things, and then she points out that it has nothing to do with with all of the parenting books. Like, she reads the parenting books, and what's happening with her child is not there.
Okay.
And that's the way I felt. I mean, we didn't have as many parenting books as they have now. But that's the way I felt when I was raising my children. It was like, this is not in, especially when it got to my son, it wasn't in the parenting book.
Yeah, my wife does a lot of research and looks at a lot of articles and reads a lot of things about parenting, and she would probably say that there is a lot of helpful information out there now. It's probably been a influx of more information that's entered the realm of parenting, but she's always sending me articles, and I probably don't read all of them, but she always sends me articles and things, YouTube videos to just give examples of stuff. And a lot of times it's stuff that we're dealing with, at the time, or we've already dealt with in the past. And I feel like now that people are more connected, we're able, we don't have to rely on just one book that one author wrote. We can see examples clearly on Instagram, on YouTube, and these are real people. Whether the video is edited or not, the people are still real. And you can see real examples of we don't really know their backgrounds or anything like that, but there's definitely a lot more examples and a lot more ideas to pull from if you're stuck about what to do and where you're at in parenting.
I like this new TV show they have. I don't know if you've seen it. I think it's called Parenting.
Okay.
It's a panel of several different parents. I want to say 8 to 10 sets of parents. And then they have a licensed counselor, therapist person on there, along with the host. And they follow these parents around in their daily lives. and then they meet on the couch. And maybe 3 to 4 sets of parents are put into the hot seat once a week. And we watched the videos of what was going on and how they chose to parent through those moments.
Okay.
One particular show I watched, they tested the child opening the door to strangers.
Okay.
And if I tell you, we were all so afraid. Because parents, they showed us where they had these conversations about not opening the door to strangers.
Mm-hmm.
But out of the 4, they all opened the door.
Wow.
For a perfect stranger.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's, you get a kid to smile and they'll change their tune quickly,
Right.
I see it all the time with my son, my oldest.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Especially if they're a people person, like if they take to people easily, And I feel so afraid because now we have to teach our children that.
Yeah.
I did have to teach my children that, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is today. Like, I'm so afraid today for children.
Y'all grew up not in the more like a suburb, right? Or maybe not. I don't know. I don't know how it works in the South or in Texas, but were y'all more in like the city of Houston, or were you outside?
Mm-hmm. We so when I was a kid, my neighborhood is really in the city of Houston.
Okay.
So you have what is known as the downtown area, like the main street, the main downtown area, right?
Okay.
Well, the neighborhood that's adjacent, one of the neighborhoods that's right adjacent to that was my neighborhood.
Okay.
So, and then I grew up in a time where, it was segregated. So, it's a part of that neighborhood that was segregated, and then the other part where my grandparents' house was part of the what we called then white flight. Okay. So as my parents and grandparents were moving in,
white people were moving out to suburbs.
White people were moving out to the suburbs. So I really did grow up in what was inner city. Now there was another part, kind of like where the black part was, that was more. It wasn't Cabrini Heights, like the Wire and all of that. It wasn't that, but you knew that was the bottom. You knew that was the ghetto part.
Right.
You knew that was okay, but it was still, all of that was still inner city. Where I raised my children would have been suburbia when I was a youngster, but Houston is so spread out, and pretty much everywhere you go now is just packed.
Right.
So, so it wasn't suburbia. Even now suburbia is packed. Like each little pocket is still just packed.
Okay.
So these people lived in suburbia on this TV show. In their different areas across the nation. They lived in suburbia. And those children opened the door for strangers in this day and time.
I wonder if that's a difference between kids in suburbia and city kids, or, it might matter what city you live in.
Maybe so. I don't know.
What were were they all different nationalities? What were they all? Okay.
Yeah, all different races. Yeah. The show it shows like a lot of different levels of parenting, and then you have this therapist who kind of goes through, because you have those who are very stern. And then you have those who just don't parent at all. Like, like this one lady, her kids just run all over the house because she said that her parents, she was Indian descent.
Okay.
Where she had a very strict household when she was growing up. So her household now, the children quite actually do whatever they want. So
Wow.
if they want to jump on the couch and fly off the couch, she doesn't correct it. I'm gonna be honest. I was pretty strict.
Yeah.
I was. Look at him. He know me, y'all. He know. I was pretty strict. But I had, especially when they were smaller, I had controlled fly off the couch times.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds like us.
Like move the coffee table, make sure it's child friendly.
First. Yeah, not when you want, when it's safe.
Yeah. Put some pillows down, make sure the cushion was, and be there to catch them as they came flying off the couch. I mean, something like that. I can't remember now. It was so long ago. But like I would do stuff like that.
That sounds about right.
Okay. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Stuff that you could go from old to new and it still just makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
controlled play.
I'm having to learn to let go a little bit more and just let, boys be boys and not, not always be there. I'm not always going to be there to catch them, and I have to, remember that. But it's hard to think about. My son, my oldest son, he jumps on everything. My youngest, he's climbing on stuff now. So it's you got to catch. When you get one, the other one's doing something else. So you gotta be on top of it. But you have to learn how to let go a little bit. And sometimes they're gonna hurt a toe. Get a bump on their head. A lot of times they're gonna get a bump on their head. My son's full of bumps on his head, but but my oldest, but both of them really. But they always end up being okay, and you just have to kind of just maybe just look away sometimes, and and just let them be kids, because especially maybe your generation, my generation, we didn't have as long to be kids, and now we can protect them a little bit better and give them that time to be kids, past the single digits.
Right. Because past the single digits now, it's scary too.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't have to worry about people walking in my school shooting.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing of my generation of when I was a kid is Columbine, and that was like one thing in a decade, in two decades maybe.
But I think y'all were in high school, huh?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, or maybe middle school, but it was probably middle school. I'm not even sure, but now it's like a couple happening every few months.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's really crazy, and it's
not
just schools anymore. It's churches, it's grocery stores, all types of places.
Yeah,
and the same demographic of people doing the shooting.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Typically not us.
Yeah, except for this one in Denver.
Oh, was it?
I've been trying to figure out if maybe there was some biracial something happening. But at first glance, it is an African-American male.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely happened in history. I think you can even Google a list of like Black serial killers, but you'll never find a 60-minute special about us. You'll never find a Netflix documentary. It's always glorified on the other side.
But what does that say? What does that say, Ro, about about the dynamic of the family. Has it changed with regards to African American families? That now, I mean, do we blame white people, right? Do we blame desegregation? Like, are they right? Because they've been coming up with that lately. They've been coming up with that.
That
What is that?
desegregation broke up the Black family?
Well, they've been saying that we need the movement seems to be from white America. And y'all get mad at me if you want to. Go to our Real Talk page so I can tell you shut up. The movement seems to be, let's go back to a time where there was white supremacy. Okay.
Right.
And in that time, Black families had no choice but to unite, and we had no choice but to take care of we had no choice. I feel like we still don't have a choice. Like, if you have a family, you still don't have a choice.
Right.
But as a community, we stuck together. I was of a time where I couldn't walk down the street and nobody know what I did. Like, everybody knew what I did before I even got home.
Okay. That's a close-knit community.
And they would speak on it. Like, if you had no business down there at the corner store. It was
right.
like the telephone game.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody in the community said something to you if they saw you doing something you had no business doing, and they praised you if they saw you doing something that you should have been doing.
Right.
What I notice now is this my child? Don't tell me about my child. You don't discipline my child. But your child just, okay, and they're doing this in front of the child.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, the child is just going to do what you're doing. And to me, that's where the disconnect is because we're not together as a culture. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, it's always been hard for us to be together as a culture. Every chance we've had to come together has been, shot down violently in America, I'd say. It's just so many factors that break up our families, but even with that, I still see a lot of family together. I still see a lot of, Black fathers with Black mothers, even if they're not with Black mothers. I just see families together, for the most part. But the statistics will tell you something different. That most people are divorcing. We have the highest divorce rates in the world. But a lot of my friends, they're older. They're still with their wives or husbands. The kids are still in the house or just recently left the house. I feel like there's just been so many factors over, probably between, your generation and my generation. There's been one of the biggest factors was, the crack epidemic that made that made the neighborhoods unsafe. That made it so that, you couldn't just walk around and everybody is trying to help you out. If you were walking around in 85, it's probably different than when you were walking around in 79. The streets were just different, and the hunger was different, and you probably were better off just being in your house and not having everybody in your business. And that's the era I grew up in. And my mother would tell me how even when she was, she's probably, closer to your age, and when she, as young as you are, and she would tell me how she would leave her doors open. She would, walk around the neighborhood. There would be no problem. She grew up in West Philadelphia, but, more of like maybe an affluent Black part, but they didn't have the same problems that we had. And that problem that she had raising me. And that was probably a big part of it, that, a lot of families were broken up. A lot of men went to jail, women went to jail, and a lot of people died. And that's just, it's like a big thing that people know about, but they don't really take it into consideration, or as a real factor of why families have been broken up so much.
Yeah.
And then there's all the laws behind that as well.
Right. You have the loss, and then you have the grief behind it, because sometimes people never recover from the loss.
Right.
Like,
Definitely.
I know some things it takes me a good little second to get it together. I was thinking about this is crazy when you talk about loss. I was thinking about my father just this week.
Okay.
And I was actually, and I hadn't done this in a long time. I usually get tearful behind my parents when I visit their grave on Christmas Eve. So through the year, I'm good. I get a slight kind of feel of melancholy for different holidays or whatever, but not to this extent. This was random. I mean, this is Easter coming up, St. Patrick's Day.
Right.
It's coming up, right?
Yeah, just passed.
Right.
Right.
And I was thinking about my father, and I was in public. I was at school, and I had to hurry and go to the restroom because I was beginning to get so tearful, like ugly cry tearful, because I was thinking about my father. And that's been over 33, 34 years ago.
Right.
Since he passed. But what I happened to be thinking about, what brought that connection home, was him working and being there for me. Me, like you say, when you're a child, you don't quite understand some things.
Right.
And he worked a lot of jobs to have us in this subdivision that we lived in.
Okay.
So me thinking in terms of, a child would think of that in terms of abandonment, where you have this person who seems to be absent.
Right.
They're really not absent, but they're working to provide for you. He would show up at my programs. He would be late, but he'd show up. But I remember, I'd be looking through the wings for him.
Right.
My mama was there. My brother was there. By the time we had my baby sister, they're all there. But I'm looking through the wings to see if he was there. And then when he'd get there, by the end of the show, he'd be asleep. Why? Now I know he'd be asleep because he worked so many jobs.
Yeah.
Right? As a child, why is daddy asleep?
Reminds me of the show, what's Everybody Hates Chris. Julius, the dad, he was always, taking a nap between jobs, daytime job and nighttime job. And that's pretty much all you would see in the show, is just him working.
So that connection of having that father to me is really important, whether it's a girl or a boy.
Yeah, definitely.
That
Black fathers matter. That's what the shirt says.
All right. Yes. Mine says trust the journey.
Okay, both. You need both. Both can exist together.
Right. Right. You do need that connection that fathers bring.
Definitely.
And when you don't have that connection, it makes it tough. I will say that for my son, it was tough, but I had the wherewithal to put certain men in his life.
Okay.
To mentor. Right.
That's important. Yeah, male role models are just as important as a father.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I heard somebody on the TV the other day. It was the Escape SWV, a reality show that's out where they went on tour together.
Didn't even know they had one. Okay.
Yeah. They filmed the behind the scenes of them getting this tour together.
Okay.
And one of the women on there said that her son calls her on Father's Day and tells her Happy Father's Day.
Mm. Okay.
Right. I cringed.
I'm trying not to.
Well, I did. It's Insane Rhetoric, y'all. Y'all know that's what we do here. We tell you. I was very clear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not your father. I'm your mother.
Right.
Nobody calls me for Father's Day because I'm not a father.
Exactly.
I'm a mother. And I was very clear. I can raise you. I can give you certain things to show you the type of man I wish you could be.
Right.
But I can't tell you how to actually walk like a man.
Not at all.
I don't think like a man. I don't speak like a man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love like a man. I'm not saying that those things can't connect and have some similarities. I'm just saying that the way a man loves is the way a man loves.
Yeah. But you can teach him how to be loved by a woman.
Right.
Teach him how a man should treat a woman.
Right.
You can do a lot of things that a man should learn about himself.
Right.
You can bring that out of him.
Right. But to teach you how to actually walk and think like a man, I can teach you to have a work ethic.
Yeah. You might need Steve Harvey for that, to think like a man. Maybe.
I don't know.
Part 3.
Part 3.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But I cringed when she said that, because she said she was the only one there, and I commend mothers who do it alone.
Yeah, me too. And fathers.
And fathers who do it alone. But to not realize that you're not both parents,
right.
I cringe. And I see in the schools the parents who like may have divorced or whatever, and they have made co-parenting work.
Right.
Right? Because the children talk about it. I'm gonna tell y'all, they sometimes if you start listening to your kids, they tell your teachers everything. I'm just
they do.
gonna
I definitely know that. I've already learned that the hard way. Definitely.
Okay. Okay. They will say things like, when I'm at my daddy's house, we do this, and my daddy and my mama said that I have, like, it's some good co-parenting going on when they say my daddy and my mama said.
Right.
But then in the next sentence they said that when I'm at my daddy's house.
Yeah, that's still good parenting.
Right. That's good co-parenting right there.
Right.
Right. But then you have those, and then the things you see while you're on your way to the school. You know, I have one child who's struggling so hard in reading. She's struggling, and I'm about a half a mile away from the school, and she and the mother are darting across a busy street, at 6 o'clock in the morning. There's no car. They probably are riding the bus or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and that mother is darting and they are going somewhere that's not the school yet. Like they've made, I don't know how many stops along the way. So by the time that child gets to school, she's frazzled.
Right. Yes.
But the mother is doing what she gotta do.
Yeah, to get by.
To get by early in the morning.
Right.
And then so many things are getting in the way. And the child, by the time she gets to me in the afternoon, now she's gone through school, and I'm pulling her for her reading, and she's frazzled. She's frazzled.
Yeah, I mean.
So, all right, y'all. Hold on one second, Ro.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, we bringing it, we bringing him in. Look, I don't know. They want to wake up. I don't know. Fire, do 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 fire, do 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 do. Got me burning, got me burning. Okay, Ro already told me he didn't want to hear me sing it, but
it's okay. That sounded better than the first one. I'll take it.
It was more on key.
This one was way better. I liked it a lot better.
Y'all, he joining our family real good.
You just gotta talk to the pastor and make sure he can tell you how to hit that high note. The musical director.
What's that movie? Was it one of the barbershop movies where Cedric the Entertainer was in a singing group with Avanti and he kept telling Avanti he wasn't hitting the note, he was doing it like that.
It was definitely barbershop.
It was barbershop?
Definitely.
Okay, so we okay. The morning crew wanna that they don't wake up in the morning. Okay. Oh, it's never a dull moment live on Insane Rhetorik. It's never a dull moment. So anyway, then he left the building. He left the building.
Oh, we scared him away.
We scared him away. Did we scare you away? Where? I'm trying to learn how to speak Ebonics. Where you at?
I'm your new co-host, Ro Jones. No, I'm kidding.
There you go. Oh, where you at? You in the building?
Good morning.
You in the building?
Yeah, I'm in the building.
Fire.
How are you doing, sir? How are you doing?
Good. Fine. How you doing?
Man, good to meet you. Thank you for being on the show, man. Appreciate it.
No problem.
We've been having a conversation about parenting.
Oh Lord. You see this cheesy chest cat smile? Oh Lord.
What?
Very good conversation.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure what's been going on. What's been happening in the conversation.
Everything. What stays on it? What happens on Insane Rhetorik stays on Insane Rhetorik, but to the whole world. How about that?
This is true.
Because we lied. So you have to hit replay.
Hey, I ain't got replay. I'm good. Shoot. What's happening? What's happening?
Can I get out the man cave now?
Nope. How this is gonna be
stuck in it.
Right.
I don't know, everybody. We just I messed up the time change, everything.
It happens.
But
it's all good. We do what we do.
Yeah.
We just do what we do.
So anyway, what was your topic? I forgot.
I was just talking about fatherhood. You know what
Oh, okay. Well,
what
I can lead. I'm gonna lead a man cave then.
no, you
Y'all
know,
can,
you're gonna stay right there because you know about fatherhood, especially if you had a father and you know how that hood is supposed to go.
we already been talking about my father.
Okay, that's good. So we got a premise. Now, my question is like, what is one of the things we need to do to be great fathers? What are some of the things? Because I done seen some raggedy fathers, and I want to know like, how do we go get into being great dads and wonderful fathers? Because apparently in our society, it's not a lot of us left, and that goes for women too, because what's happening is we don't have uh stability in homes like we used to have as Black parents. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about that. Talking about some of the factors that cause that instability. We were talking about how maybe from when Ice was growing up, she had like safer neighborhoods. People would look out for her if she was walking down the street, and say, why are you going to that store? You're not supposed to be doing that. Or they would say, oh, we saw you help that person get off the bike. I'm gonna tell your father, tell your mother. The good thing we saw today.
Yeah.
You have both sides, but nowadays, but then you flip and you go through the 70s and 80s, and then you got all the crazy stuff that happened with the crack epidemic and the laws changing and war on drugs, all that stuff. And then all of a sudden you can't walk down the street. The people who are talking to you are asking you for money and asking you for drugs, and everything just changed. And people, all the fathers are getting jailed, mothers too. I actually know more mothers growing up that got jailed than fathers during that era. And it all affected the family. It all broke up the household. And then people just didn't know how to run a family. Everybody's so focused on, especially now, you can't have one person working one job, taking care of the whole house. You got to have everybody working. The kids are working now. Kids got YouTube pages. Everybody's working.
Yeah.
And
Even the dog got to work.
Yeah, exactly. Dog's got a commercial coming out. It's a lot,
Yeah, man.
So
I mean,
a lot of factors.
I agree with you. Like one of the biggest things that I talk about is Reaganomics. And you understand Reaganomics because you just touched on it. I mean, when the crack epidemic hit the Black community, it just flipped it upside down. And when you talk about that era, and then now you have millennials being produced by them parents, the mental capacity is so unstable. And it's actually funny to me because they think that they are in their right mind and their right frame of thinking, but they can't even reason, man.
Right.
It's hard. Excuse me. It is hard to parent a millennial these days, man. Like, I mean, I have a 25-year-old. I mean, and it's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? How you gotta deal and talk to them now. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have the ability to say, okay, if you don't do this for me, then I'm gonna take you to court and sue you. You know what I'm saying? And in our day, it was just like, you gonna do what I told you to do. Regardless, the framework was there regardless. You're gonna do what I tell you to do. And I don't care if you like it or don't like it, you're gonna respect what I'm saying. Now we give kids too much
choices.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, that's a bad thing, because if a person doesn't know how to handle a choice, then that can be detrimental in some places, in some ways. And I don't know what to say about these parents now, because when you got grandmothers that's 32 years old, man.
Yeah, it's different. It's different.
It's
yeah.
Like granny in the club, tattooed all up, jigging, and just going at it. You know what I'm saying? Like when we was growing up, the average grandmama was about 65. Big mamas was probably between 70 and 75 and 80. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Who had wisdom, who had knowledge, and who had understanding about the way that life is supposed to go. And they could tell us that because they have already lived it. You know, so I mean, I don't know. What do you think we should do in this era to be good fathers, man? What is your premise on that?
I mean, I was raised like that with with my mother. She had to, you're gonna do what I say, and if you don't do that, then that's your ass pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't help it, but I kind of run my house the same way, because that's the way I was raised. But
Right.
but what my mom didn't have was somebody else to give her the other side,
Right.
and I had my wife, and my wife is able to give me maybe just a different outlook on things. Like maybe, yes, the kid has to do what we say and do what we think is best, but we should also listen to the kids too, even if they're young. If
Right.
they're old enough to talk back, they're old enough to be listened to. And sometimes they're telling you something that you may need to listen to. Maybe you are over talking them, and they just need to get something out.
Yeah.
And even my son tells me that now. I have a 5-year-old and 1.5-year-old, and my 5-year-old, he tells me now, I hate it when he gets upset as hell. He's like, I hate it when people talk over me. I can't, I need to get my thoughts out, my voice out. I'm like, all right. Now at first I used to be like, no, don't, you can't say nothing. What I say goes, blah blah blah. But now I'm just like, say what you got to say, man. Just say what you got to say. And I let him talk, and he gets less upset when I let him talk. And sometimes you just got to hear him out. Even if you don't agree, even if you don't really care what they're saying, just hear him out.
Well,
So
I agree with you. I
yeah,
agree with you. I
I think
think
that's one factor that could be changed. That maybe we should look at and actually listen to our kids sometimes.
yeah, I mean, I highly agree with you. I had to learn that later, you know what
Okay.
I'm saying? Because like I said, I have a daughter that's 25.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn that later. When she came up with me, it was like, you know,
Yeah.
you gonna get these hands
Right.
if you
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
right. So I had to learn that later, which I'm glad that I did, but because everybody has freedom of expression, no
Mm-hmm.
matter if they're right or wrong. And if they can communicate, like you said, then I'm willing to listen.
Right.
But it to me, I think that sometimes we give kids too much too fast.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We just because they ask for it in this day and age, we give it to them just to silence them because we don't want to be bothered. I
Mm-hmm.
think that is a huge problem
It is.
because
Yeah.
I
I
think
agree.
it's a huge problem because we're not being attentive to them because we got so much going on in our life.
Right.
So much happening in our world, in our circle, man, it's just upside down.
Yeah.
And we just say, here, take the phone, take the iPad, and gone. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But then that opens them up to a world that is endless of
Right.
information. And growing up, we used to be sheltered to some degree, you know what I'm saying? We used to be looked out for, and it's just amazing to me that we don't pay attention. And I'm not saying all, we don't pay attention to our children like we need to in this day and age. And that's why a whole lot of them are in the mind capacity that they are in because they don't know who we are. And the funny thing about it is, we don't even know who we are because in some instances we had to grow up so fast and learn such
Mm-hmm.
so quick that we didn't get a chance to be who we needed to be. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like this, man. In this day and age, 21st century, 2023,
Mm-hmm.
I want to try to listen to people more, and not just, your children, but listen to people more. I told my sister Ice that one day I was at church, man, and I was getting ready to play the organ for somebody, and this
Okay.
lady came down the street, and she came down the street, and I asked her, "Hey, you want to come in and come into the church?" And she's like, "Nah, I'm just gonna walk on." And then I say, "All right, well, if you want to, sometimes you can come on in, Hey, we have fun up here, you know what I'm saying?" So she walked by, and then she turned around, And she say, do you have a minute? I say, yeah, I got a minute. And so you begin to sit down with me and just talk to me. I never opened my mouth.
Okay.
Never opened my mouth. She poured so much information on me. She poured so much information on me about her life that I listened for about maybe 20 minutes before she got done. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is Sunday morning. You know, brother's supposed to be on the organ.
Right. You missing rehearsal, everything.
Right. So I'm listening to her. And then she got up and said, thank you for listening to me. I was like, no problem. No, she said, you don't understand. Thank you for listening to me, because the next thing I was finna get ready to do was go kill myself because nobody would listen.
Wow.
From that point on, man, from
Wow.
that point on, I learned to listen to people, because you never know where they at. And kids, you don't know where they at.
Yeah, definitely not. Their brains are everywhere.
Yeah. It's just like, so you gotta take the time to listen. I think some of the great fathers is some of the ones who actually listen before they whoop their children.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Right.
Like,
I wish I had that growing up.
listen, I mean, me too, man. I mean,
Right.
honestly, me too, because it was just like, come here, let me get with you real quick, man.
Pick your own belt and wait. That's
exactly.
right.
Exactly, man. I mean, I can just remember some of the things that I was in, and it was just like, oh my God, this is crazy.
And then it's just right now.
Right.
You know?
Right. And it's just like, man, it's crazy. But I also think that it made us who we are.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that it made us who we are, man, and different melting pots of societies in different places where we have been, it has actually held us together, man. So I just want you to speak to the fact of, like, in your life, in your circle, what do you do to be better?
Yeah, definitely. One thing that's helped me, especially in the beginning, when my first son was real young, was asking for help from other fathers. Just asking for advice. You know, I got some cousins who are older who got some kids who might be double digits now, and 10, 11, 12, and they just were able to give me a lot of insight, just even on potty training, even the dynamics of being a husband during this time while your kid's going crazy, just all types of stuff. It definitely takes a village, but you gotta do the research, you gotta do the work yourself before you can reach out, and you gotta just I like to I've done therapy, I've done things like that to get a better understanding of myself. I've had to look at what I do and really just say to myself, is this the kind of person I want to be? Is this the kind of person I want to portray to my children? What am I showing? They really do soak up everything. Like, what am I showing them that they don't need? Sometimes I do still feel like it's good to show them the good and the bad. I say a bad father is still a father. Even if they're there, if they're in the household, but maybe they don't pay attention to the kid, maybe they don't do stuff with the kid, stuff like that. But they're still there, and they still they might show you what you don't want to be as a father. They might show you what you don't want to see from your partner if you're a woman, and you just know that's the example you have, and it's just, I don't know, it's tough to know what to do, but I'm working on just being a better person, I'd say. And like I said, listening to my kids, and even the baby, I gotta listen to what he's Google Gagging about, because he might be saying something that I'm not picking up on. He might be saying I'm hungry and just can't let me know. So
right.
You just got to look at yourself and look at the people around you and ask people who've already been through it. That's my biggest thing. That's what's really helped me.
I agree with that. You alluded to something and saying about how a father in the house might be a bad father, but he's a father, but he's there. I know some people who was in those type of situations. You know, it's funny thing about fathers, man, is like even if they are bad and in the household,
Mm-hmm.
kids still listen to them because they want their protection from them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That he might not know how to articulate what needs to be done because maybe he wasn't the biological father and
Right.
he just stepped into that role and just started to do what he knew how to do. You can learn something from anybody.
Yeah.
Like you said, if I learn how not to be like him,
Right.
that's good. If I learn his morals and values, if he had them, that's good. You know, we can learn from anybody. And the funny thing about being a dad and a father, man, it was something when my daughter came along, I just used to laugh because I was like, she too much like me too early.
Right.
You
Right.
know, and that wasn't always good. I remember one time I went to a restaurant in St. Louis called Malone's, and I go in there. My daughter's probably about maybe 5, maybe 5,
Mm-hmm.
and I go in there and I sit down with the mom and the grandma. We finna get ready to eat and everything. All of a sudden, when I'm walking in the restaurant, there's a kid standing on a table,
Hmm. That's
and
crazy.
I'm like. I go over there, it's my kid.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I'm looking like y'all ain't gonna say nothing,
Right.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I just push
Handle
off the tape
business.
and catch it and take on to the back. Hey,
What
let
you
me get
doing?
you together. Let me get
Right.
you together. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? It's just funny because
Yeah.
now I'm gonna be honest with you. My daughter is not with a black woman. It was with a Colombian woman. So their ethics are different.
Yeah.
Colombians, Hispanics, they do things different. They do them the same, but they do them
But it's
different.
different. Right. Right. We're the same, but we different.
You
Like
know
Bernie
what I'm
Mac said.
saying?
Yeah.
So like when I was looking at that, I'm just thinking to myself, now if that was me
Mm-hmm.
and I was standing on top of a table in a restaurant at 5 years old, and my mama or daddy saying that,
Oh man.
it was catastrophic. The world was over.
Right. For real.
You know what I'm saying? So
We got
I
Wood with
look
a cassette tape.
exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
I just did what I knew to do because of what was put in me.
Right.
And then went and grabbed it, took her on to the bathroom, let her know, and got it together, came
Mm-hmm.
back, perfect angel.
Okay.
Perfect angel. So from this standpoint, like another situation that was funny to me was that me and her mom was at their house one day.
Mm-hmm.
Before all you remember the old Toys R Us. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Toys R Us was everywhere.
Right.
Okay, so like her mom and a couple of her friends were together.
Mm-hmm.
Her mom called me and say, "Hey, your daughter is just acting out of turn." I
Mm-hmm.
say, "What's the problem?" She was like, "She asking for some toys, but she don't have no reason to get no toys because she wasn't doing well at school at the time. Her
Mm-hmm.
little friend had straight A's.
Okay.
She was in the car with another guy. Her mom was in the car with another guy that she was dating at the time
Mm-hmm.
who had a job.
Okay.
The other friend was her friend named Angie. She was there and she has a job. So everybody in this car could go do what they want to do because either they was working or
Mm-hmm.
either they made
Good
the
grades.
grade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did what they were supposed to do.
They did what they supposed to do. Mine didn't at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting up here. She's like, "What's going on?" And I say, "Okay." Got to the house and she was hollering, screaming, and I was like, why you think you couldn't get anything?" She
Right.
was like, because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. So do you think you have the ability and the reasoning to go ahead and just yell and cause every other person to be around you that don't want to be bothered with you?
Mm-hmm.
She said, yeah. I say, see, this is too much like me.
Right. Wrong answer.
Wrong answer. I say, okay. So, needless to say, we went through that, got through that, got over it. Later that week, man, I promise you, my daughter got into it with somebody, and she got to her mom's house and everything, and I just couldn't take it no more. I was like, so what do y'all think? I'm talking to the mama and the grandmama now. And the daughter is sitting here. My daughter's sitting here. So I'm like, why y'all ain't, give her a whooping or something? Oh,
right.
We don't believe in it.
Okay.
I say, okay.
That means they want you to do it.
Now that wasn't, but that's what they was trying to imply.
Right.
Because they wouldn't want me to do it at all. So one day it just came down to that. I was just like, I'm not finna let you go off like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I know me. Me. So I was like, listen, I asked her a question, bro. I asked all of them a question. I say, talking to my baby, I say, listen here. Why do you not do what your mama and grandmama say? She said at 6, because I know they gonna give me what I want.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they know. These kids know. I'm telling you, they know early. Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all hear that?
Right.
I say, okay, so let's play the advocate. I say, man, devil's advocate. I say, so why do you do what I say? She say, and looked at me because I know you gonna whoop me.
Both sides.
Both sides. Both sides.
Yeah.
It is okay to have one parent in the house. It is better to have two.
Yeah. Definitely. Much better.
It's better to have. You can do it with one, but it's better to have both opinions in the house, man. And I just looked at that later, and like to this day, my daughter tell her friends when they come around me, don't ask my daddy that, because they was like, my daddy cool, but there's certain things he don't think kids should be into at a certain age.
Yeah.
Even though you probably doing it, but it's just don't do that with him, because he ain't that type. He ain't that type, and she knows.
At least she knows.
And she knows, and that's what I'm saying, man. That's what's up, because like I love being who I am, man. You know what I'm saying? And I just, I love being a dad on every level. You know what I'm saying? Try to be the best that I can be, man, and leave treasures and legacy. So I mean, do you think that society can change anytime in the future dealing with our kids? And I don't want to be biased or one-sided. I'm talking about kids as a whole, because like white parents have these same problems, if not worse, because they have the ability of money, and you can get into a lot more things with money.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I mean, really, with that part, I mean, the perception of white people having money is false, really, because it's really even with white people, there's only like a very small percentage of people in this country that have money, a lot of money. But most white people are broke like me and you.
Yeah.
Not to say you broke. You might have.
I know what you mean.
But you know what I'm saying. But they say the average black person, once you get rid of the car and the house, got $1,000 in the savings account. So I feel privileged that I got 2,000. So it's you gotta take what you can get. But I mean, society is to me, society is kind of always attacking kids, and there's just always some message being sent to kids that they may not need, like from the food they eat to the toys they play with, to the movies they watch, to the content of the stuff they're watching, the subject matters. There's just a lot of stuff being pushed on kids. And I feel like kids are always a focus. Kids and women are always a focus when it comes to this consumerism culture that we live in.
Yes.
And they're always trying to get men to buy stuff, but it's usually men buying stuff for women and kids.
Yep.
And I don't know. For society to do better by kids, we have to do better in the household. We have to, show kids great examples of what they should be looking for, what they should want out of life, you know, how to take advantage of the opportunities in front of them, and how to be able to work with people who may not really have their best interests at heart. You know, you're going to come across that a lot, and you know, you got to teach the kids from the beginning, just give them that foundation. But also it's hard because we're not home as much as we need to be. They're in school all day, you know, and then they're in school all day. After school, they're in after care. You know, we come pick them up at 6 o'clock in the morning at night after dropping them off at 7 o'clock in the morning, and you know, we spend maybe 2 hours with our kids, you know, at night, and then they sleep, and then you wake up and do it all over again. And it's like, that part really bothers me, how we just don't seem to have time for our kids like we should. When I hear like, I have a friend who he was able to tell his wife to sit down for 2 years and just take care of the kid. And I wish I was able to do something like that, but you know, you need the money to do stuff like that. He was able to do that, and I was like, wow, I wish that, you know, my sons could have that privilege, because just to have the mother around for, you know, all day, every day. Yeah, it's going to be taxing on her, but it's going to be so beneficial for the kid, and that's just part of the sacrifice of parenting. And you know, I just feel like society has a lot of different things and topics that need to be worked on before you know, for kids to have a better chance.
All right, so
may I just interject just for a second?
Please.
I want to tell you that I thank you so much for just making that comment, Ro.
Which one?
Because the one you just made about a wife being able to stay at home and take care of the household and the family.
Mm-hmm.
I just the day before yesterday had a conversation with a really good friend of mine whose husband said that to her, just within the last week, said something similar to that to her. Not that she didn't have to go at all, but that she could lay back a little bit now.
Mm-hmm.
And if she wanted to go find another job, she could, and if she wanted to quit, she could. It would still be helpful if she still worked, but if she wanted to quit, she could, because he had it. That's the way he said it. He said, I got us now.
Okay.
And okay, we're really good friends, so I said something that I'm not going to repeat on here, but I just want to say it the way I'm going to say it to you two men, and to you men out there in YouTube land. Most of us women, when you say that to us, it doesn't mean that we just want to just stop working and don't. Like, if we want a career, we'll want the career. We'll do the career and we'll figure out the motherhood part of it. But for you to say that and want that for us and say it in that manner, okay, I'm going to say it. That's just like the sexiest thing ever to us.
I thought you were going to go the other way with that. Like, how dare you tell me?
Right.
Just stay home.
No.
I mean, if you get one like that,
she probably cool.
Mm-hmm.
You can do what you want, but just like you had an option. I get it.
For you to say to us like that, that puts a woman in such a safe mindset.
Mm-hmm.
That this man is there. Like, a lot of people think when a woman says that, you know, the man is the protector, it's not always fighting knives out.
No.
Right? Like, that protects her in such a way that you can just never understand, because all of the thinking that a woman has to do, especially if she's a single mom,
mm-hmm.
that a man would normally do, that a man does in just a natural way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the way he thinks. So we talked about that earlier, the way a man thinks, right? So for you to say that to a woman, that's like powerful.
I agree.
Yeah, I thought
I
so.
agree. Because I think you just need options. When you dealing with relationships, man, and you see the dynamic in your own family, or what you could do better, or what you could do at at all. I think the dynamic is like give options if they are afforded. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Because
definitely.
like in Black society, we know that women have been the backbone of families for a long time
Across all cultures in this
across
country. Right,
yes.
right.
So I mean, like, and it's just crazy because they need a break.
They do.
Honestly, they need a break. I mean, and that's why I am so I'm so upset with men from
Mm,
time to time, and I don't care what culture you in. If you are a bum,
right. Can't
I,
respect you.
I can't respect you. You know
Mm,
what I'm saying? And I'm gonna ask you a question in a second, but I want you to tell me what you think about this. One of the things that bothers me is when I see homeless men,
mm-hmm.
but then you have the audacity to bring your family out
Right.
and panhandle with your children and your wife.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Man,
Especially
and
when he got family shelters.
yes,
Right.
and then my thing is, you got two good legs,
Yeah,
you
that
got
always
two
gets me.
good arms.
Yeah, the two good legs and two good arms thing always gets me. But sometimes, I gotta say, I actually I work in human services in that field,
Mhm.
and working with people experiencing homelessness, and a lot of times when they got two good legs and two good arms, it's usually what up here
Up
that's
there,
not right.
yeah.
So that's usually the thing that keeps them from working.
Okay.
Um,
Cause some of these guys I know, man, and I done seen them. I was like, man, you done came out with a fresh new Adidas jumpsuit, some
oh yeah, that
Nikes,
too. You
and
see that?
a fresh cut, and then you spelled the sign right.
Right. Right. Yeah, the sign, the grammar's perfect. You got a comma in the right place. Right.
Hey,
Right.
I can't give it all to them like that because
Right.
like
Oh yeah,
I
definitely
mean
not.
I know some people who are in that situation
Mhm.
like for real.
Right. For real. Yeah.
So when you try to embark on it because you're trying to play on a person's heartstrings and empathy,
Hmm.
I ain't with it. So here's my
Right.
next question to you. Here's my next question to you, wrote. What do you think about Tyree Nichols and that whole situation?
I'm trying to remember. I know the name. I can't remember
Okay,
the situation.
so Memphis, 5 police or 14 come to be
Right. Right.
exact,
Okay.
wind up killing Tyree Nichols.
I heard about that. I don't remember the details, but I mean, I feel like I don't need the details because we hear the situation, time and time
Time and
again.
time again.
So, I mean, I don't know, where was his father at? Where was his like what's the details about when he got killed? Like where was he at? Was he walking around?
Hmm. I mean, as
So,
far as I know, that he was not around because he was I think he was actually out of the West Coast and he
okay.
moved to Memphis for a job,
Oh wow.
and he was staying with his mom at the
Hmm.
time when that happened. So
Okay.
I don't know if his father was in his life, but for what I know from the story as it unraveled, he wasn't there present.
Mm.
So
I mean, you gotta she definitely, I mean, hopefully she did. She gotta give him the lay of the land and let him know what the town that he's moving to, what it's about, Going from LA, I mean, LA is or it's no better really with the
nope,
cop situation,
nope.
but I mean, I don't know, but it's just a different world. Like, the cops might be the same in a way, but the environment is different. Like what the cops get away with in LA, they might have to deal with, prosecutors or DA, something like that. But in Tennessee, it's like everybody thinks the same, I feel like, and people are going to be on the same wavelength. And if the cops are doing wrong, that's just how it is. Um, I just feel like we need to know where we're at. We need to know our surroundings. I'm just wondering what he was doing to even be in that situation.
Me,
But
but see, now see, this is the thing. like from what I read about the report and everything, like I say, he was starting a job down there, and he was starting to date some girl.
Okay.
So the girl was actually the ex-girlfriend of one of the police.
Oh wow. Okay. So there you
So
go.
so
You know that gang,
so
right?
right, exactly.
Right.
So my thing is, and come to find out, these guys was ex-football players from high school and college or
Oh
whatever.
wow.
So these some big guys. This
Yeah.
dude was like maybe 6'2", 143 pounds.
Oh, okay. He's skinny, skinny.
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So he wasn't a bulky dude at all.
Right.
But this is what I'm saying. The problem with it is Memphis and West Memphis, the majority of those people there are black.
Okay. Oh, that's so even the cops are probably black.
They all were black, bro.
Oh wow. That's different. I don't know. I don't know about that.
They all were black.
That's crazy.
The ones who were immediately thrust into that situation all were black. When they
Wow.
came to find out that it was 14 cops in all, I think it was maybe 3 out of the rest that were white.
Wow.
So
That's sad.
now, yeah.
That's sad. It's like, that was his black role model at the time, and that's what they did to him. That's a black male role model. Assuming they were all male, but that's crazy. That's horrible.
Listen, man. Listen, I when you get a chance, go back and look up the story, read it just for
I've
yourself.
been seeing the hashtags, but I didn't know anything about it.
Dude,
I was kind of tired of these stories, honestly,
Me too.
Yeah.
Because
It's exhausting.
same thing. But like what it is when you get into that story, the captain or the sergeant over there, the chief, basically fired all them on the spot.
Wow.
Black,
Okay.
and she's black.
But okay, wow.
She fired
So
them on the
no
spot.
investigation, no suspended pay, nothing.
Nothing. Straight ahead. So then once we understood like some of the white people who was the paramedics and some of the other white cops, the paramedics that were white, they got fired too.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's
But go ahead.
No, I was saying that's interesting.
Yeah, so they got fired, and then you turn around, some of the white cops was let go with leave of absence. So it kind of plays the same role as George Floyd in that type of case. But I gotta commend that chief as a black woman in Memphis.
Right. Firing cops, yeah. That's not black or white. That's for the cop. That's you don't hear about that too often.
No.
You definitely hear about black cops getting fired more than white cops
exactly.
in those situations, but it's still not easy to fire people in that line of work.
Especially when you don't have the resources.
Right.
We had a show from St. Louis with a police officer named First Lady, and she has been doing what she does around the city of St. Louis for a long time, So, and she was breaking down the dynamic of when you get a call in, what happens before dispatchers, send out police and different things. It's not instantaneous. They go through a process of who's in the area. Where is this? Where is that? And they dispatch. But like I said, it has to be a better system. It has to be a better system. I'm like with Tyree Nichols, I think that was heartbreaking, very heartbreaking, because like if he wasn't somebody's father, he's definitely somebody's brother or uncle.
Yeah, he's somebody's son.
He's somebody's son. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I think that it is a real assault, and I'm not trying just because I am to say it like this, but I think it's a real assault on black males because they understand the dynamic of if these people, these black males, because we have lost who we are, but if you go back in the history and understand the lineage of where we came from, We
Right.
came from kings and queens, but you got to understand your history. You
Right,
have to know the historicity of who you are. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And that is what we need to get back to, because we ain't meant to be, trampled on or considered 3/3 of a man, which is nothing.
Right.
And I'm talking about the 13th Amendment of the amendments,
Right.
so
Yeah.
so I think we have to do better. I
Yeah, we
really
do.
think we have to do better.
I mean, if, you talk about history. I mean, historically, when a large group goes to take over a land, they go to the people. You find the strongest, you find the men, and you kill them off, and that's how you take over a place. And that practice is that's been in practice since they took us from West Africa, since they found us here. For those who believe that we were here already. So they've been practicing that. They made sure they had the biggest gang, the most organized gang, with the police, first Ku Klux Klan. It's just, it's all written. It's all in the history books. It's all, documented. People just ignore it. It's literally simple, and it's all right there for you, right in front of your face. But people just say, oh no, things are better now. Things are different because 50 years passed. But you have somebody in your life that's 50 years old, and they could tell you about those times.
Yeah,
how things haven't really changed much, except we got iPads now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they took a noose and traded it in for a gun.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
yeah,
it is what it is. You think about like you said, a 50-year-old or a 60-year-old.
Yeah.
If you look back, the March on Washington is not that old.
Yeah, no, they did that before.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like
right.
from Martin Luther King's time, that is not that. That was the 60s.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I thought you were talking about the second march they did on the
the first one. The first one. So that is not that old. So that's one person's lifetime.
Right. Definitely.
So
the holes in the streets, the dogs being sick on us, all that stuff is not that old.
No, so you think about it, that ain't a 200-year-old fact. No, that's a one person's lifetime. Somebody that's 60 or 65, they done came through that era.
Somebody has it on film somewhere. A picture
exactly. You know what I'm saying? So you think about how, like, you think that we didn't change. No, we haven't. You just made the method different. That's all you did was made
and profitable.
Exactly.
That was Abe Lincoln's whole thing. He wanted he didn't really care about freeing slaves. He just wanted to make America more profitable. He was thinking about economics, and if you can make more people work and tax those people, the country will grow.
Yep.
Which it did, obviously.
And it worked.
Yeah, it worked.
It worked.
So thanks, Abe.
I mean, I remember I seen a wanted poster, and the wanted poster had like $1,000 at a certain year for a black man. It went up from that to like 2017. Now, this is just a fictitious poster that somebody created, and said, "Black man, $500,000."
Right.
So, and my one of my cousins used to work in the institution. She used to work in one of the biggest prisons in San Francisco, was San Quentin Penitentiary.
Yeah, I heard of it, definitely.
As a correctional officer and everything. I have a lot of respect for her. Lot of respect. She was just talking about, like, she sent me something a while ago that, like, when you talking about the average prisoner versus, a normal person that goes to prison, she said, and I went back and checked it later. She said that it costs maybe $87,000 a year to house one inmate.
Person. Yeah.
One inmate. If the person has a medical condition, that shoots up to $150,000 a year.
Somebody's paying for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's crazy.
So that just tells me, like, the value of different things and how they see things. Like a couple of my people, they grew up in the projects, was called Pruitt-Igoe Projects in St. Louis, and they was talking about how they were together. But I went back and checked the history on projects. The only reason projects was developed was to divide and conquer.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't afford to have all these black people in one place.
Yeah. Right.
That's it. I mean, so that just, man, I don't know. I just want to know from you, like, where do we go from there? With our family, with our children, how do we protect our investment? Because we got to be there. We got to want to be there to protect our investment. How do you think we should start, and move in that capacity?
Yeah, like I was saying before, it definitely starts in the household. Giving our kids a foundation, and I say, whatever the kids learn in school, just make sure you're teaching them, the behind the scenes, the behind the camera stuff at home. My son came home one day and said, "Daddy, Miss such and such told me that Black people used to be slaves." And I was like, wow, so we're just gonna start with that. All right. so that's it. We were just slaves. And I'm just like, I can't have you thinking that our story starts there, because we're so much more, and we've been so much more, and we've been here longer than the person that told you that we were slaves. Because his teacher is a white woman. And I told him, before we were slaves, we were doctors, we were parents, we were teachers, we were kings, we were queens, because everybody wasn't king and queen. We were hard workers, we were soldiers, we were everything before we were slaves. And slavery came, 400, 500 years ago. And I had to teach him that, because I just can't have his story be told by somebody else. That's the way to change things. I think, even in white households, I feel like things are changing. You got younger white people now who don't understand why their parents, think a certain way. They couldn't even believe that their grandparents did all these horrible things. And yes, they're still living in their privilege, but they might have a better understanding now of the people that they didn't grow up around. Maybe they can now they'll go to college and see Black people outside of rap videos, see us outside of the news, and get a different perspective on us. I'm hoping. I'm kind of going all over the place, but I just feel like for society to do better, we got to start in the home. It starts with the parents, the mom and dad, and we just got to teach our kids what we think is right. And I feel like historically, Black people have been, more on the righteous side of things than any other culture in this country. Because we've only wanted the most basic things in life, which is just to live, have shelter, and be able to educate our kids. And yeah, I just want to get back to that, and hopefully society allows us to do that. Oh, the connection's gone.
Yeah, that part right there.
Yeah,
I had a teacher, again, within the last couple of weeks, who looked at me when I said, yeah, when I was a young mother, I just believed that I had a part to play just as much as the teacher had a part to play. Because I believe that, and listen, I still haven't told this story about my mama. We're gonna have to tell that story another time. But let's just say it like this. If you've ever seen the movie Terms of Endearment with Shirley MacLaine and Jack Nicholson.
Yep.
I've never seen it, actually.
Okay. If you go watch that and you see the relationship between the mother and the daughter and multiply it by 5, that would be me and my mom. It changed. It changed, just like theirs changed.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the best way I can describe it.
Or imitation of life without the right part. And how she treated her mama and her mama treated her.
Yeah. Okay. So, but again, like you said, I heard you say earlier, there are things you can learn from each parent who's in the household, regardless of the role they take.
Right.
You can learn the things you're not going to do, the things you are going to do. You can learn those things, and you can make what I like to say is lemonade.
Mm-hmm. Some gumbo.
Some gumbo, good old seafood gumbo, okra seafood gumbo. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I can't
mess
do
with
that.
But anyway, one good thing my mother did, of the many good things she did, was on Saturday morning, it was get up, it was do your chores, your cleanup chores. There was a little bit of cartoon time, but then it was you get in the car and you went to the local library.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, they had just built this library in our Black neighborhood, this branch in our Black neighborhood, so we didn't have to go all the way downtown. And she would take us to the Lonnie Smith branch library on Saturday morning. She did not go in with us, which was the part I learned that you shouldn't do.
Mm.
But she was running errands. She was grocery shopping, whatever, so that's fine. But she would drop us off and she would say, go in there and get a book on somebody Black. And she would say, and when I pick you up, you better be able to tell me what you learned from that book.
Wow. Sound like my life.
Mine too.
Right.
Now listen. Now when
this is Houston.
When I would take my kids to the library and I would go with them. So we would have a list of all their questions. I wouldn't answer all of their questions.
Mm-hmm.
We would have a list. How do you make, my oldest daughter, how do you make paper? Let's write it down. We're going to the library on Saturday anyway. You're going to look it up. Okay. You get the book on paper. What is papyrus? Next week, we're going to find out what is papyrus is.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's how I taught my kids. That's one of the things I did to teach my kids. And when it came to Black history, I was there, present, in the moment. Like, why don't you know this? Well, why don't you know this about this person?
Yeah.
Why don't you know why this is important? Why don't you know that even though it was a Black person who created it or invented it or did it for the first time, it still impacted our society in a way that benefited everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you know? Then I took pieces of what's inside of our culture, because we are a melting pot in and of ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we not this, but let me just say it. If I knew that one of my relatives in my past was Filipino.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now I'm branching out. Your great so-and-so, whoever was Filipino. Look at this history.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is part of your family history, is coded in your DNA. And everybody not like me, and everybody don't have to be like me, but that's the way I chose to teach my children about their heritage, not only being Black, but just being an American, period.
Yeah.
Because I pray for the day that we can stop saying we're Black
right.
American.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be an American. I don't know about being an American, but anyway, come on.
We spend so much time worrying about being Black. We don't have time to worry about being, American. But we also, we have the disadvantage of most of us not knowing where we came from anyway. So, most white people can say, I'm this American. they don't say it, they just say they're American, but they could say they're Italian American. They could say they're, German American, all that stuff. They always have something to pull from. And a lot of times we don't.
I mean, but I think the problem with that is the reason we don't have nothing to pull from is because a lot of us don't want to go read a book.
Yeah, that's it.
It ain't that we can't trace it back. It's that we don't want to go and read.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. A lot of Black people tell me when I say, "Oh, where's your family from?" They just say, "Oh, from the South."
Yeah.
That's what they always
Arkansas,
say.
Tennessee,
right. Exactly. I'm like, before that,
Mississippi.
And they're like, "Oh, I don't know about that." People hate that conversation. Oh, I don't know nothing about that.
But listen. Who said this? I think it was Malcolm, or I could be wrong. But one of the great leaders said, if you don't know where you come from, you'll never know where you're going.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, you better find out something about what's in your DNA that makes you who you are. I mean, I believe that Black people are the best built people on the planet. You can say what you want to say.
We've been through everything.
But we done been through everything.
Yeah.
And I heard somebody say that Black people are the most forgiving people.
Yeah.
In spite of all the atrocities they done went through. And sometimes I have a problem with that because I'll be like, yeah, I ain't there yet.
Right. I think as a whole, I mean, maybe even not forgiving, but we're like the most just, I don't even know the word, but we just put up with so much. We're like the most patient almost,
Yeah.
And we've been asking for 400 years, please, can I just be a person? Can I just live without being bothered every day?
And the crazy part about that is we all bleed the same color.
Yep.
Blood is blue without oxygen. When it touches the oxygen, it's red.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like we all. Okay, if anybody can point out to me in this day and age who is 100% of anything,
right? Nobody anymore. You got to go to that country to find that.
So I mean, why are we tripping about things like that still? And then my kid can't play with your kid because your kid white. And, like, man, we know that there's places like that. Me and my sister did a show a while ago, and we was talking about the Green Book, and we was talking about sundown towns.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you still have them type of places.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah. Tennessee.
Yeah, you still have them type of places. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want, I have never been a person to tell my kid, go get the American dream. The American dream from our standpoint is a nightmare.
Right.
So, but that's in how you're trying to develop your kid. You know what I'm saying? Like the picket fence and the white, you can be whatever you want to be. I agree. You can be whatever you want to be, but you got to teach them how to be it.
I feel like everybody can.
But I'm saying I teach. I'm saying you can be it, but not be it in the world's eyes.
Right.
Is what I'm saying.
I hear. That's true. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can be it, but they might not let you be it.
What were you gonna say, Ro? You say you feel like what?
No, there was I heard a comedian say one time, which I actually agree with, say that, we got to stop telling our kids they can be whatever they want, because some kids really can't be everything. Some people in general really can't be everything. Like everybody's not going to be president. Everybody's not going to be a doctor. Some people just don't have the capacity to do certain things, and that's just life. But I understand like the fantasy of like giving hope, and you just want to be optimistic and tell kids that so they can open their mind and be creative and hopefully live their dreams. But we know for real that some people are just meant to be certain things. And that's just life.
I heard a teacher, third grade teacher the other day. She was giving her children the road to success. She was teaching She was teaching social studies. Well, okay, we don't really teach social studies in Texas.
We don't
but
have social studies in Texas, sister. They
we have
abolished
it,
that.
but we
They
have it.
abolished it.
We have it, but
They got rid of
it's
social
lost.
studies?
Well, they didn't
Oh,
get
wow.
rid of social studies. They got what they call social studies, but like they changed the TEKS a little bit to where like slavery is not, they right now they're discussing if they're going to change and take out the word slavery out of Texas social studies.
Okay.
They've had a person to come, an entity of people, a group of people who were doing this research, who came and suggested that they told the school board that we should take slavery out and call it.
I like this word. Listen to it, bro. Listen to it. I like it. This is gonna get good to you right now, bro. It's gonna get good to you.
I'm ready.
They should call it
called?
involuntary relocation.
Wow. What is that? What is that?
Okay, so I
didn't want to relocate, but they made me.
We have like a whole lot of book bannings here now and all of this kind of stuff. Books that were already on the school board list, but now parents are like, I don't want my kid to read that. And they're in different school districts across Texas. They're like banning these books and stuff. But so anyway, I heard this teacher the other day. I'm in the hallways and I heard this teacher. She's teaching social studies and she's telling the children the road to success.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're in third grade. So, she goes, third, you're going to leave here and you're going to go to middle school. And when you leave here, you're going to go to high school. And then when you go to high school, you're going to leave high school and go to college. And then you're going to have a good paying job. And then you're going to take care of your family. This is what she was teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Indoctrination.
Yeah.
I cringed.
That's all it is. You didn't say nothing about a trade school.
Nothing.
I cringed.
Start your own business.
I went straight to starting your own business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My son.
This kid's doing it now.
When I read.
And doing it well.
Very well. Making more money than me. I know that much.
When Rich Dad, Poor Dad first came out,
mm-hmm.
I was sitting there reading that with my 13-year-old son. He came to me and he said, "Can you make me some business cards?"
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Yes, what you gonna do?" He said, "I want to go in the neighborhood and I want to see what people got that I could do for them to make money." Like what? Whatever, mama, clean the garage or take the boxes out, take their trash out or walk their dog. I was like, okay. So I went with him from door to door. I stood in the street. He went and knocked on the door. I made him deliver his sales pitch.
Mm-hmm.
The people were looking at me. I'm like,
right.
You have to talk to him, but like,
it's okay.
Yeah.
Right. And people actually allowed him, like he had a dog walking schedule. He would come and he would that's how he made his money when he was like 13 or 14. He's now, he went to school. He's a assistant manager at a place, but he went to school to learn that particular trade where he's a assistant manager. Like he was like, I'm going to learn this.
Okay.
So he went to school to learn it, not just manage it, but to learn it.
Right.
And he's got this 5-year plan that he's going to open his own business like that.
Okay.
Okay. So I did say to my kids, if you feel like you want to lasso the moon, throw a rope in the air, and I would act it out. You want to throw a rope in the air, lasso the moon, pull it down, play with it a little while there, throw it back up. That's fine. Do it. Set your plan in motion. Let's go.
Next time I talk to your daughter, I'm going to say that to her. See how she reacts.
Did you relaxo the move?
Right.
Well, I will
do the
tell
whole
you.
movement and everything.
I'm gonna tell you, she is doing what she always wanted to do. Like she's doing the job. I remember when she applied for this particular job she's on right now, and she said, "Mama, this was my dream job."
Okay.
I encouraged, go do what you want to do. So you're right. Everybody can't be the president. Everybody can't be the this, that, the third.
Right.
But you do know what you want to do.
Oh yeah.
And
you can at least go for it.
Put one foot in front of the other. Do the research.
Right.
And do that. And it might not take you to college.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
that's why I cringed. That's why I cringed when the lady said it, because I was like, why we keep telling people they have to go to college and then they're not successful?
Because it keeps America going. Keep them loans going.
Like 3 things that fund the US? United States budget. 3 things: college loans, mortgages, and penitentiaries.
Taxes and interest. That's what this country runs on. Yep.
Because I mean, you like Ro alluded to, you never said nothing about trade school. You can go to a trade school and get out and make
more than a lot of people
of money.
Right.
Tons of money. And then your debt is not that high from a prestigious school where you be in debt for the rest of your life, paying $350,000 and tacking on interest every month that you would never pay off.
When I was young, people told me that I needed to go to college and I needed to be in business. They didn't tell me, they didn't show me that track in their lives.
People just say it.
They went the business track. The people in my life were college educated. They worked in education. They, pillars of the society, whatever. Okay. All of that. But to go to college and major in business, you didn't mentor me like that, and you didn't have me around people like that.
Right.
So you want to, and I'm telling you what I want to do, and you're telling me, no, that's not going to make you any money. You can't do that.
You say, I'm amazed at that. I'm amazed at
okay. You got to go do this.
Money.
That's what I was told about being a cook, because I love cooking growing up, and I wanted to be a cook. And I was told that they don't make any money.
That's not true.
That's not true at all.
And I found out as an adult that you can actually make a lot of money.
Tons.
Yeah, right.
So
you don't even need your own kitchen. Just go to somebody else's kitchen and make some good money.
No overhead. And
right.
you be the top chef in there and making all the money.
Exactly. Yep.
I'm up here at my age now, finally doing what I wanted to do way back then. And people still telling me, but you can't do that. That's not gonna make you can't, it won't work. You can't.
And
that's their insecurities.
Yeah, and that's their limitations. You know what I'm saying? Because they probably bumped into a wall where what they really wanted to do, their parents probably told them, "Oh, that ain't gonna make you no money. You shouldn't do that."
But see, that's why parents are so important, though. You see what I'm saying? We're back to that.
Right.
That's why parents are so important. What we tell our kids, they take in. They're like little sponges, and they take everything in. So if you tell them they're ugly, they're gonna believe they're ugly.
So there's like, my sister know what I'm gonna do, but like there's a text in the Bible that says, "So a man thinketh, so is he." So if you're putting things into kids and they're not beneficial, they're gonna think that way.
Right.
If it's beneficial, they're going to think that way. So you got to know what you're putting into a child that's going to alter them for the rest of their life. Like years ago, Blacks did not believe in therapy. Go talk to grandmama, big mama, and that worked.
Walk it off.
For some. Yeah, walk it off for some. But now it's a time
shake
where
it off.
Yeah, shake it off.
I'm sorry. Okay.
We like that, man. We like that.
You're gonna get flagged. doing somebody else's music.
Just sing on key. Can you please sing on key? Okay.
I need A flat, sister. A flat.
Right. I saw the treble clef. I know you know your keys.
Yeah. So you think about like they didn't used to do those things, and now it is actually helpful for our people to do those things, and they are in better places because of it. You know what I'm saying? And I can commend that when you see that you need help in some ways that Big Mama can't do it.
Right.
And you go find somebody that you can talk to, and that's biased. You know what I'm saying? You can sit down there and give them your life story, because they definitely ain't judging you because they don't know you. They just letting you talk. You know what I'm saying? And get it off of you. And that's the thing I think people need to do, is talk to people, get it off of you, because when you carry all that stuff, the weight of the world around you, eventually you're gonna blow up like Mount St. Helen in front of somebody. It's just it's inevitable. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully it ain't your family and your kids, because they're gonna be looking like, what is the problem? You know?
There's a lot of people now who like you said, you told that story about the woman who just needed 20 minutes to save her own life. She just needed somebody to listen to her. There's a lot of people that just want to talk about their mental health and, you know, their mental state. On my podcast, which I started, Black Fatherhood Podcast, I started during the pandemic. I took a long break because we had our second kid, and I kind of just got caught up in that. But I'm hoping to restart it this year. But I had my last episode I did was called Depression, and even though I stopped it in my podcast a while ago, there's still a lot of people downloading that episode, and still like it's still getting a lot of traction. It's keeping my podcast going, even though I haven't done it in a while. And I guess there's even I think my biggest overseas market was Nigeria, and I guess there's a lot of Black men in Nigeria who just needed that conversation, needed to hear that just hear somebody talk about that, and it's just a big thing now. Now you got you know, website dedicated to Black therapists. I think there's a website, Black Women Need Therapy Too, something like that.com. There's one for men too. That's been the biggest thing for me when I was searching for therapy, was trying to find somebody who looks like me. And you know, you're probably not gonna find somebody who sounds like me, but you're gonna find somebody who looks like you. And you know, just to try to relate to you a little bit. And I had a hard time finding somebody. I did eventually find some black men that I could talk to, who were social workers / therapists. And you know, it's helpful to just to, you know, you feel like you just feel like somebody's actually listening when they look like you. Even they could just be doing their job, but you know, you just feel like they're listening more. You feel like they're listening harder, that they have a better understanding of you. And I love the conversations now around mental health. I watch The Breakfast Club a lot. Charlamagne the Guy is always talking about mental health. You know, people don't ask you how you're doing anymore. They just ask you how's your mental health, how's your mental state. You know, I like those questions better, because everybody just says good, I'm good, I'm okay, I'm fine.
Until we see you on the news, and then you done shot up the school and
blew up somebody.
Apparently he wasn't fine.
Apparently he wasn't fine. After further review, so it's like so I like the conversations now. People are being more open, and now we can look at the person who's walking down the street and calling out Jesus and calling out you know, talking to somebody that's not really there. We can look at them and say, hey, I can refer you to a doctor. I can refer you somewhere. I know what kind of help you need. We don't have to just say, hey, oh, that's just Ruben. That's just John. You know, he'll be all right. He's you know, he's a little funny in the head, but he'll be all right. You know, now you can actually say, hey, do you have a primary care doctor? You know, go get a referral, go get yourself some help. It'll be covered under your insurance.
Yeah.
Well, I want us to stop being in denial about mental health and our children too. Not just ourselves.
Some of y'all kids crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have a child that tell you that she have anger management issues, you say, how you know that? And she say, because my doctor and my mama told me. And then she plays into it. You know, like I and then you have that kid who, I saw a change this year in one kid. Last year and this year, he was just, well, okay, I can't say it any other way. He was just a hellion.
Mm.
And I noticed about 2 weeks ago that this kid is now, well, first of all, he moved out of one teacher's class and into another one. So that was the first problem.
Mm-hmm.
But he finally he's in a classroom where he knows that that person actually cares about him. That's the first problem. But I just noticed that his whole demeanor is different now. And I want to go up to the little boy and say, did your mama get you some therapy, baby?
Right.
Right? Because we overlook it. Oh, yeah, I can't say that. But we overlook what's going on with our children, and because we think as parents that we can handle it. But if we find a therapist or doctor, psychiatrist, for the ones who hear voices, get them some medication if they need it, do our research on that medication. So if we know if it's habit forming or, going to cause psychiatric breaks or whatever, and just really be in tune with our kids' mental health as well as our own. But I think you're right. Our mental health does come first, because if we're not in the right mental state, then we can't get our child in the right mental state.
Yeah, that's why I like the law of self-preservation. It's the first rule of nature. If you can't take care of you, you definitely can't take care of nobody.
Right.
Goes
from relationships too.
Right. Anything, I mean, I'm glad that my co-host, brought that up about the kids, because we did a story. I think it was coming out of last year. And it was a news clip that came up about a 10-year-old boy that wanted something from Amazon, a VR video game, and couldn't get the VR video game because his mama told him no. He wound up shooting his mama in the eye and killing her.
Oh, wow.
And went back and ordered the video game.
With her money.
Yeah.
With her money.
Right.
And then they were saying that she was like, I think her occupation was like a social worker, where she was in that type of field. I can't nail it down, but she was in that type of field where she knew the sign,
and she was trying to get him help.
Right, trying to get him help, and it just never materialized. Now this woman is gone, and this 10-year-old boy is being charged with capital murder and charged as an adult.
Oh, that's crazy! Wow.
So if you don't think it's real, it is very real. One of my favorite uncles, man. One of my favorite uncles. I told my sister about it last February sometime. I preached his eulogy, because my auntie said, ain't nobody better for the job. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he had struggled with depression all his life. College graduate from Harvard and BYU, was an excellent writer. I mean, did everything in the community for people. He had highs and lows, man. I remember one time he went into a depression episode for 20 years.
Wow. Okay.
I was like, can you imagine growing up with somebody that took you around and showed you business and taught you business, and then they just fall off the earth for 20 years?
I couldn't.
Man, devastating. Yeah. I mean, tried to get him to come out for any and everything just to see him. But then one day something happened, and he came out of that depression state, and then he started ripping and running. There's different sides of depression. You can have a high or you can have a low. Yeah. And the thing with that is you're trying to find the median.
Right.
Where they
manic depressive.
Right. The manic depression. That's exactly what he was.
It's like when you're too high or too low, but never
exactly. Exactly. And that's where he was. And it was just amazing to see him. When he was up, he was running.
Right.
But when he was down, he wasn't doing nothing. Sit in the house and contemplate suicide all the time. Then just after that time, just life, he wound up just passing away, for, not I could have been a broken heart. I don't know.
That's real. That really happens.
You know what I'm saying? Could have been a broken heart, and just it was just amazing for me to see. And that's why I try to be, my therapist is on the line right now. My therapist is my sister. My sister, she
My name ain't Big Mama.
Sometimes all you need is just a ear, you know.
Yeah.
My therapist
Even
is
if you
on the
don't pay for
line.
it.
Right. Just somebody to hear, you know what I'm saying? I mean, she'll kick stuff back to me and tell me, you wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You wrong.
As two left shoes.
Right, on the right foot. You know what I'm saying?
My wife tells me every day, you wrong.
Yeah.
You wrong. I'm like, you're right.
So I mean, sometimes it's just good to listen to people, man, and just give a different perception of what your norm is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's hard for men to do. That can be hard for men to do because men have this thing that's called pride and they don't want to be wrong.
Yeah, definitely. We stuck
But
in our ways.
Yeah, cause but like I had a stepfather that was in my life, and he was one of them old brothers from the South.
Mm.
Oh, it's my way or no. I'm like, I say when I grow up, I'm not gonna be like that.
Yeah, you had an example of what not to be.
What not to be. He was a good father. There you go.
Yeah,
I don't know about a good father, but he was a father.
Yeah. I mean, like he was a good father though.
Yeah, there you go.
But it's just like he just had that pride issue. But them guys had to have that growing up in the era that they had.
Right.
So I don't knock that either. You know what I'm saying? Because you had to be tough to take some of that stuff that these people was dishing out.
I can imagine.
That's what I'm saying. So
yeah.
I ain't knocking it. So like I said, I'm gonna be reasonable and try to listen to both sides and try to make a decision.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be stuck to just me. I want to know what's going on. So
well, okay, y'all. I'm gonna let Ro give his last words. Listen, y'all. Okay, I can't pronounce where this is that you can find Ro's podcast, but you can go in our liner notes because I put the link there for you to go and check out his podcast. There you have it. I figured it out because I can't pronounce all of that and I can't half read it. But the link is there. You can go copy and paste it or whatever and go listen to Ro's podcast, Black Fatherhood Podcast. That's father, then hood, not to be confused with fatherhood together. That's two different people.
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
Okay. We want you to listen to this one. I know we're not knocking that other dude. But we want you to listen to this one. We also want you to like, subscribe, and follow. We didn't say that. We usually say that. But like, subscribe, and follow Insane Rhetorik. Hopefully, look, he might come back if I get the time right.
I'll be back next time. I'll be more rested next time.
I got the time wrong.
Did you wake up like this? Oh my God!
I sure did.
Time?
I woke up a couple times. I woke up at 3:00 in the morning.
And listen, I was up, but I've been trying to get.
You had to get them nails right.
Yeah, get that. Okay,
I see.
So, but anyway, but we got to let Ro go be a father because, as we found out, he's an even better father than we knew just from listening to the podcast. Now we got to see him live and in person, so we got to go let him be a father. So, last words.
I just want to thank you guys so much for having me on. This was definitely a great conversation. I wish we could have added more voices from the other men.
Yeah, I don't know what's up. We don't know what's up with them.
But I'm fine. I'm fine hearing myself talk. That's fine.
If you knew what I did, you'd be saying he in his lane too.
Right. So no, I appreciate it. It was a great conversation. I hope there's a part 3, 4, 5, 6. Would love to be a part of it. Definitely follow me at Black Fatherhood Podcast on Instagram. You can also follow me at Ro Jones _DJRJ for the music portion. But yeah, being a father is not easy, but it's something that we got to do. And I'm always definitely here to do it. And I'm happy to do it. I don't have much to say, but take care of yourself, be well, and make sure you live life to the fullest.
It's been awesome having him on this show. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I told y'all at the beginning. We affectionately call each other internet mom and son.
Mm-hmm.
Long story. We told you we're not gonna tell you the story today. You hear? See, it's real because I didn't say story. I said story. I'm working on my Ebonics.
You winning, sister. I'm trying to tell you. I'm pretty soon. I'm gonna mail you. I'm gonna mail you your black card in a minute. I'm like, you winning.
Yeah.
So you gotta go to the corner. We gotta go to the corner store.
Get some
I'm trying to learn.
You invited to the barbecue.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to learn how to, not put the endings on my words and all of that.
I'm right there with you. My mom used to give me the business for not talking right, so I have no choice but to speak correctly, as they say, or talk well.
Whatever that is.
Right.
Okay, so quick point of reference. Last year we had a guest who, because I was putting my endings on my words, she and because my experience is different than hers, she kept telling me I was bougie.
See, that's funny when people talk like that.
Man, listen, you's an uppity nigga, ain't you?
Right.
But anyway, y'all, it's
you can
been
read and write.
right.
You uppity.
But you know what? It's that kind of thinking that we've pulled from slavery.
Mm-hmm, definitely, yeah. You're not supposed to read. Not supposed to let people know you're smart.
Right.
Yeah. And if you could, and you were teaching others to be that way, then we have to bring you down because you in the house with massa and I'm out in the field and you being uppity because you smart.
Right.
Yeah, that part right there.
21st century niggas still right. You can read? Don't tell.
Don't tell nobody.
Well, I will tell you this. I can read, but I can't count. Anyway.
It's a different story.
A whole different story.
Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for listening in on us, bro. Thank you for coming in and talking with us.
Thanks for having me.
Look, I'm gonna say it like this. We had two other people who were supposed to be on this panel.
One of them just called me. Like finishing up too late.
And so I'm a firm believer in, if this is who was supposed to be here, to get whatever message that we're going to be able to get across to at least one person who's listening today. And so I'm grateful and thankful for this particular panel, for whatever reaches whoever ears is supposed to reach.
Definitely.
So thank you so much for being on the show.
Ro, I got a question. Question.
Sure.
I heard you do music. We need to do something. And listen. What interface are you using for that mic? Because it sounds wonderful.
Oh, this is this is just like a USB. So I got it's a regular mic, but it's a USB cord, XLR cord. So it's just hooked up to my computer. But I got like it's nothing special. It's just plug and play. But I have I got a Pro FX Mackie mixer over here.
Okay, I was like, I heard some effects on that microphone or something.
Oh,
man.
Yeah. No, it's just
they gonna talk music. Y'all look, they gonna talk music. Sounds.
There's some effects on that microphone. It sounds wonderful.
I play the other clef though. I play the damn, it's been so long. I play the viola, but we do the other clef.
Don't worry, I do all of them. I play bass too.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I can't read bass clef, but I can read treble clef.
Yeah. So okay. I got a partner who played with a cello in college named Robert. Man, the dude is phenomenal. Man, he is phenomenal.
I used to be back in the day. I haven't. It's been a while since I practiced, but I still could just pick it up and play it.
I wish you. That's what's up, man. We gonna have to link up, man. I want to thank you for myself, man. Like I appreciate you being on the show. I appreciate you knowing this wonderful lady down here also, man. I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, man. I mean, because it is not a lot of young, black, intelligent males that is willing to step out and do things to help other people. They're usually takers. But I thank you just for the opportunity to meet you. Like when I make friends, I make friends. So
yeah, same way.
Hey, so now I consider you as a friend and a brother, man. Anything that you need when we can get together and all of us can click up and do something, I am well with it. You know, just let us know, man. I appreciate it.
Definitely, yeah. Once I get the podcast back going, I gotta get y'all on.
That was good, man.
Awesome.
Definitely.
All right, we'll see y'all next time on Insane Rhetoric, and remember just to enjoy the ride that is Insane Rhetoric, and we'll see